They had
It was
it.
stored somewhere else.
Oh,
So it's not-
I see.
They have off-site storage, thank goodness.
Yeah.
This ought to
How
be
do you
down
do
here.
transport something?
John-
You guys have a big honking trailer? Okay.
We have a trailer. Yeah,
Wow.
it's-
So I would agree that
30
the
something.
stipend would be better.
That's what I think.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay. That should be
That's
good.
a lot of the lake, and that's what we have.
Yeah. So what you guys gonna do?
We're gonna redo the hall so that none of we.
Oh, okay, now I do.
Have you heard from Deborah?
Yeah, is anybody that's kind
Okay.
of
Hi, Michael.
fiberglass?
So, okay, we got a quorum. Let's start.
Yes, ma'am.
Good?
Yes,
6 o'clock.
yeah. Okay, so I do
Is that ready?
remember that part. I
Okay,
remember
so I'm not
that
sure.
part.
You did. Welcome to the April meeting. What a difference a month makes. Last month drove down in a monsoon. I'll take this any day. It's time. Without delay, let's get on to the approval of the March 29th board meeting minutes. Have you all had a chance to take a look?
Move approval of the April or March meeting minutes as presented.
I would second with one correction. Kathy McClure spells her name with a C, not a K.
Oh, very good pickup. I did not catch that. Did you get that, Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the March 29th meeting minutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next up, Michael Blackwell, the treasurer's report.
It's pretty simple. March, we brought in $4,672 and we spent $36,690. Again, it's only March. I'll remind people to go online and get their boat registrations. We've got that set up. We've sent several messages out, so I look for that to increase here soon. Everybody's had a chance to look at the vouchers, so I'll look for a motion to approve March vouchers.
I approve. I motion. I
You
motion.
approve.
I'll second.
Mary Jane and Michael.
Mary
all
Jane's
those
just
in-
approving it, so we don't have to do
Yes,
anything.
He has that kind of power.
All
No, I
those
don't think so.
in favor of approving reported claims for March 2018 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Motion carries. Timeline for the 2019 budget. So everyone's saw the dates. Today being April 26th, today we're going to select the timeline. April 26th through June 23rd, 2018, we will be preparing the 2018 budget.
Okay. We should get some dates.
Yes,
Separately.
Absolutely.
Can we do that
And
after the meeting?
I think so. Yes, we can.
Once we decided who
Yes.
is going to be there.
June 23rd at the picnic
Did you
meeting.
mean 2019?
Well, these are the dates that we're going to prepare the 2019 budget.
Okay.
Did I misspeak?
I think you said 2018.
Okay, well, we might want to redo the 2018 budget.
I was thinking we already did that.
We're going to do the
Excuse me.
2019 budget. Thank you, Les. June 23rd is the presentation of the 2019 budget. July 21st would be the first public discussion. August 18th, second public discussion. September 27th is a public hearing, and October 25th, the adoption. Thank you, Adam, for getting that taken care of. I would ask, when I have to log into Gateway and provide the pre-budget information, we will have to decide soon if in fact we're going to maybe increase that levy, whether it's $10 or $50 or $50,000, whatever that is. That time is coming up where we would have to enter that information. So just putting it out there for the board to think about. Okay. If everyone is in favor of the budget timeline for the 2019 budget, I will accept a motion for that.
I'll make that motion, Mike. Looks good to me.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of the budget timeline for 2019 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, that's all I have.
We need to select the committee as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that the executive committee, or is that something?
Yeah, but I think we just need to have the motion just to include that for, if we're gonna
I-
include the chair,
okay.
vice chair, and the treasurer, which is generally what we do.
The committee would consist of the chair, the co-chair, and the treasurer, okay, for those pre-meetings.
I make a
All right.
motion that we
there any-
We'll just amend that motion, okay? I'll make that amendment, and let's do that again. You make the motion for that amendment?
I would move that the executive committee, that being the chair, the vice chair, and the treasurer, be the budget committee to meet with Adam to prepare the 2019 budget.
Okay, perfect.
Mike, you mentioned, you said a levy, now what was that about?
Well, I did bring that, and here it is in my LLCD treasurer folder. Every so often, Adam gets these too, but we have worksheets that we have to fill out, and it's like once a month. And so, does Lake Lemon Conservancy District have a debt service levy? No, we do not in 2018, so we check no. Will Lake Lemon Conservancy District be looking to increase the levy for 2019? That question hasn't come up yet, but it will. It will possibly in the May or the June reporting.
Are you talking about the tax levy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not
So-
your property, yeah, the way they.
So what I'll probably do is when those periods occur, I'll email the board, I'll email Adam, and Adam can email the board, and that this timeline is occurring. Would you agree with that?
No.
So it's just for discussion or
Yeah.
just to keep, okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
So we've amended that motion, and you've made the amendment, and you seconded?
No, I didn't.
No one has seconded.
Oh, okay.
Second.
You did now. All in favor of the executive committee consisting of the chair, the co-chair, and the treasurer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks,
Madam.
Mike.
Thank you. You're
All
welcome.
right, next up is the Strategic Planning Committee update.
Okay, in your packets, you have a board resolution and 2 contracts. At our last SPC meeting, it was reported that Angela Parker has reviewed and approved the contracts for us to start the Lake Lemon Enhancement Funds, both with Monroe County Foundation and Brown County Foundation. And does anybody have any questions about them?
That was
At
my
this-
question. She had reviewed them.
Yes, she has reviewed them. Then I need a motion.
I would move to approve resolution 41802 as presented.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. This is like, we're excited about this because it's going to open some new doors for raising revenue.
Do we have in our packet the actual agreement with the community foundation?
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
it's in that, then it's the following page of that, just from Monroe and Brown County.
Yeah, they're 2 different contracts.
Can I ask?
Really, the only thing Angela, the attorney, said is to make sure that we understand that the community foundation controls the monies, and then if the Conservancy ever becomes solvent, they would retain those monies for purposes described in the initial purpose, but I think we understand that.
Right.
Mary Jane, did you see the piece about the questions at the end? It is 2 of them. Mike, I hope you saw this too. I think I'm going to have to sign this. It is anticipated that the funds will be distributed in A, less than 3 years, B, more than 3, C, we do not know. I guess we do not know. That's good. Okay, but now question 2 is, we would suggest that the community foundation invest the funds in as follows: either cash management fund, short-term bond fund, or long-term investment pool.
I think that's something that we still need to discuss at our next SBC meeting and come back to the board with some recommendation on that.
So we're not signing this piece tonight?
We don't have to decide that until we have to
Okay.
get to that $5,000 mark before they will invest
Yes.
it.
Okay, good. I just didn't want to
So we have some
prematurely.
time for that.
Okay.
I picture it as a long-term investment, probably not take anything out in the next 3 years.
Okay.
But we'll have some time to decide how they.
Okay.
So in other words, we need to have money to invest before we have to worry about.
Correct.
Yes,
I
So,
just didn't want to-
just on the Monroe County Fund, we have to have $5,000.
Right.
And we can begin contributing that money to it. So that's going to probably be our first short-term goal
Right.
is to get up to that $5,000 mark, because we can't use any conservancy district money to get to the 5,000.
So we can hold on this, that piece in terms of.
Answering those questions.
Yeah.
We can still sign the contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was just an add-on that I thought probably
Yeah,
should.
this actually goes to their board of directors now for
Okay.
approval. 'Cause they still have to approve that 12-year period to give us the time. They said there shouldn't be an issue with that, but it does have to go through the approvals.
Mary Jane,
Applying now.
What happened to the money that Susan had?
We still have that. Ann has it in a separate account.
Okay,
And I can't, it's not a lot.
It's
Okay.
less
It-
than
it-
5,000.
Well, it's way less than that.
Okay.
It's less than 1,000. I want to say that she said it was like maybe $400, $500, $600,
Okay.
somewhere in that range. And other people had pledged more, but thankfully we had never taken that money from people. So I would, we will go back to people and say, if you pledged for Friends of Lake Lemon and you are so inclined, you're now going to be able to make a direct donation to one or both of these funds. Initially, and we did both funds for a number of reasons, because we have freeholders in Monroe County, we have freeholders in Brown County, and you can contribute to one or both, you're not limited. But we felt like there was no reason to not have both funds. But I will say, in the short term, getting to that $5,000 in the Monroe County Fund is more important, because the Brown County Fund rules are a little different. And I'm looking at Adam.
There's no minimum requirement for the invested pass-through funds. So we'll put that to them for approval from their board, but there's not a $5,000 requirement, so they can start investing with any
So-
donations.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't see the fee schedule in here. Am I missing it? Because I was kind of looking for a percentage, like, we're gonna charge you.
The fee schedule
blah,
is
blah, blah,
2%,
Mark.
but
It's
varies.
It's
yes.
2%
Oh, is it?
right now.
You're right, because it just says, we understand we'll pay our fair portion of the total investment, blah, blah, blah. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, it's 2% currently.
Is that for both Brown and?
Yes.
Yes. Any other questions on that? We have a lot of stuff going on right now, both on the communication side and the fundraising side, and that's kind of getting married together a little bit. We have been setting up for Constant Contact to switch over to the new email service, and it sounds like that's going really well. I think about 200 people have already switched to the service, and that's going to dramatically improve our ability to get information out to people. We are also reviewing, at the last committee meeting, we reviewed a mock-up of the newsletter and what it will look like when it comes to people's inboxes. And we're meeting again, part of the committee is meeting tomorrow, on subcommittee on task group on communication is meeting tomorrow to talk about, to finalize the content for the first newsletter. And we hope to have a newsletter around the 22nd of May, so right before Memorial Day. And I'm sorry that I don't have the final content for you this evening, but what I'd like to propose is, after we meet tomorrow and finalize what's going to be, what the topics will be in that first newsletter, I'll send an email out to the whole board so that everybody knows what it's going to, you won't
That
have the
works.
articles, but you'll know what the topics are.
That works.
We are also looking at fundraising activities, and we have a lot of ideas that we're floating, and it would be wrong of me without the sub-task group having the chance to finalize those, to talk in great detail about them right now. But we really want to start to develop a plan where we push for not only raising money for the sediment management project, but also to bring the community together in a way that it hasn't been in the past, so that it's not just neighborhoods, but people become part of the larger Lake Lemon neighborhood. So we're working on a number of things.
So, can I ask a question? So people are gonna be able to donate to these funds, and then they're gonna be able to be used for sediment management? Did I misunderstand you say?
For the overall well-being of the lake, that's the way we wrote the mission,
To be a charitable purpose?
for a charitable
So
purpose.
someone's gonna get a charitable deduction if they contribute to that. and it can be
Absolutely.
used for sediment management.
And for other things as well, Debbie, the
Right,
park.
I get the recreation,
you know,
education,
recreation,
everything. It just
education, all
seems
that.
like a-
So,
Okay.
we, at our next meeting, we'll be talking a lot more about other financial management options, so stay tuned for that. And the Shrewsbury project is off to a good start, I think. Next Friday on May 4th, there's going to be a boat tour of the Lake Health Task Group and representatives from Shrewsbury, one of them who is a wetland specialist. And then the first project progress meeting with Shrewsbury is scheduled for May 11th at 1 o'clock, and then the next SPC meeting will be at 3:30, so we'll have like a real-time update from that. And Shrewsbury is working on setting up meetings with
They've had an
the
initial
Army
contact.
Corps and DNR and all those people that we need to get to for permitting and those kinds of things. So everything there's a lot of activity, but we're right on the cusp of some things really taking off. That's my report. Our next meeting is, as I said, on May 11th at 3:30.
Thanks, Mary Jane. Lots of hard work going on. Dredging study group update, Michael. It's your turn again.
Okay. I want to thank Mary Jane for letting us have a meeting right after her SBC meeting. We started about 4:30 p.m. The same Friday. What we were looking for were efficiencies in our dredging, and we actually covered quite a few topics. Present from the committee was myself, Malcolm, Greg McAtee, and Tim Specht. Your guy, he emailed me and said that he was sorry that he couldn't make it. So, and Mary Jane was there, and Pam was there by phone. So I thought we had a pretty good meeting. With the committee reiterated that we were going to stay in the Chitwood area and finish up. That's at least a 2-year dig, as we've well known. And the guys are doing a really, really good job. You know, we're watching them, and you know, if they use the excavator to push the small barge out, then the motors go, you know, cavitate or they get underwater. So there's got to be a perfect system where the excavator can assist, and the jack plates can be extended and the motors can be tilted, and that's a team effort. And I understand, you know, certainly we don't want anything to happen to this equipment, but so I would just ask you to stay on top of it, you know. But there's no complaints with the way the guys are going. One thing that I will remind you that we did talk about in the meeting was the humps that were created as they come in and go up Walker Channel. There's a hump there that goes east towards Isons and Caps that they have to go through. Of course, then there's a hump towards Bowser's Chitwood Lane. And so, you know, they just need to be aware of those humps that were created by last year's crew. So I just want to reiterate those things that we talked about in the meeting. So efficiencies, we talked about having the first crew and a backup crew and maybe a backup to the backup crew. And Adam was on board with those discussions, that he does have backup guys, but the problem is, if you're not working them, then they're not really good backup people. And so we get that. And so we also asked about a crew on the water every day. And you know, certainly the budget doesn't have in it this year to have 2 crews working, and really, the priority is Chitwood, getting the Chitwood area finished, so we're gonna kind of leave it at that. I will tell you that we did take last year's budget numbers and the amount of cubic yards that were removed. So basically, what we came up with as a committee, that the cost of dredging was approximately $57,472. This is labor and fuel and the cost of renting the excavator. We didn't take into account the amortization of the barge. So let's just take the 57,472 divided by the 5,800 cubic yards removed. We got $9.90 a cubic yard. We discussed this at great detail, and I think, especially Greg and Malcolm, Malcolm was reaching in his pocket and pulling out $2,500 just to get private dredging. Greg, on the other hand, was, hey, wait a minute, I don't think I want that number. So we had some very good discussion, and so what we came up with as a committee to report to the board is, if we run out of money in the Chitwood area, if we exceed the $100,000 earmarked for our dredging, and we can go to get some of these private dredging areas, what we would recommend to the board is, when using the small barge and the large barge at the same time, it's costing us roughly $10 a cubic yard. We came up with $1,500 for a full load in the large barge. Okay, so now whether or not the large barge, let's say they go to a private area and they dig and they use both sets of equipment, the minimum cost of that is $1,500. I want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Whether you fill it or not.
Yes.
Right.
And that's using those 2 pieces of equipment. If they're using the large barge by itself to do private dredging, our cost is roughly the same, but the committee came up with $2,500 using the large barge. There is really no break even. We're using the equipment. It's wear and tear. We're paying guys to do it, and so we feel that it's not a bad thing to make money using the
So the
equipment.
1,500 is for the small barge, is that?
Small barge in succession with the large barge. So small barge digs out an area, goes and fills the large barge. Goes back, fills it again. There's 3 trips. 30 cubic yards times 3 trips is almost 100 cubic yards in the large barge.
Right.
And so then we got that cost lower, well, just simply because that was what the committee came up with.
I thought that was 2,500 was if you had to use 2 barges.
Do I have that backwards?
It's not making sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to use them both and it's cheaper.
Thank you.
Right.
Let's change that around then. I haven't had anything to drink either.
I understand.
Yeah, it ran out with me.
Yeah.
2,500 for both barges.
Right.
$2,500 for both barges and $1,500 for the single large barge. Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
but so with the 2,500, you get more volume removed?
No.
Or just
No.
quicker or something?
Well, it's just, you're using both barges and you have to offload. The smaller barge can only handle so much and it has to offload and come back and
Okay,
refill.
so it's really gonna just depend where you're located.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Get
more
the big barge
expensive
in
per
there.
yard
Right.
if you're using them both.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay,
Steve, neighbor.
I'm just here to help.
Yeah, I
Glad you were
wasn't getting
there.
it either, so, okay.
Yeah. And we talked about this on the way down here. Why couldn't I remember that anyway?
But I scrambled your brain.
Yes, so
Many options.
that's what the committee has recommended to the board. I'm open for discussion, and I guess we have already had that, so I will make that motion, that's what the committee, the DSG committee, all in favor, unanimous of the people that were there, to recommend, and that we would look at this every year. This is not set in stone.
This is the pricing for this season.
This is the pricing that this season, and something that we went back to was something that Watkins Accounting did in 2012. They started in 2010, And the life of the equipment was 10 years, and so they took those numbers in consideration. And I even talked to Adam on the phone before we came to that 990 figure.
Essentially, that $1,000 that we've been charging is really just staff and fuel costs. I mean, we're breaking even, but it's not included in the depreciation on the equipment, wear and tear,
Right,
maintenance,
right.
that type of stuff. So I would agree that we should raise the fees on that. We're substantially cheaper than contractors right now, which generally average about $15 to $18 a cubic yard.
Not to mention the mobilization is a
Oh, yeah.
minimum of
Yeah.
5K when we
Yeah.
looked at it, to have them just
So
get.
are there many people on the list so far?
Oh, yeah.
And enough to keep the staff busy?
Yeah, if we have time, we have more than enough to keep us busy for, I'd say, a couple seasons. Historically, we just, by the end of the season, we're usually out of water. There's something that's taken us to the end there. And a lot of times, the money that we have budgeted for private is used up for riprap. So I would say we've probably only done maybe 5 or 6 total private actual dredging jobs in the history of the dredging program. So it's not something we every year. Generally, the private work that we do is the riprap and shoreline erosion. But I really think there needs to be a shift towards the digging, because there is the potential to bring in money and use that as a revenue generating operation, especially as we're moving forward and looking for the need for funds.
So if there's a waiting list, I mean, is there any downtime where we could put that equipment to use?
Yeah, I'm hoping this fall. God, we were hoping to be on the water in March if Mother Nature had other plans. Really, we can, as long as we have the hours and the money budgeted, we can dig or do private work until there's ice on the water or we don't have depth to get to the areas. But there's private jobs spread out all around the lake, so even say we lose a little bit of depth, we can generally still do private jobs on the west end of the lake. And that's something that we'll need to look at, is shifting more to allow for more of the private jobs. And
But that was the lowest priority, right, from the board meeting, is that like, you don't have time to do that now.
For a
You're
private?
focused on others.
Yeah, and that's what we've decided too, is we will
Right.
be utilizing the LLCD funds for the public dredging prior to any private work.
Yeah. Right.
Should.
So do we need a motion? Is that where we are?
I'll make that motion that, I'll correct myself, thank you. Yeah, neighbor. Using both barges would be $2,500 for the large barge capacity and $1,500 when just using the large barge by itself. And that's my motion to present to the board from the DSG committee.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor
Well,
with
no.
that?
Were you making the?
I did make that motion.
Second. I'm
Thank you.
having trouble here this evening.
Me too. It's in the air. I think it's in the air. It's going to be
I'll
80 degrees
second.
on Tuesday. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. At the end of the meeting, Pam did make some remarks that she had 2 areas in her district that we all received emails on. Adam, the curtain is still on the CBU property, I think, over by the one lady in the Possum Trot area. If we can,
Yes.
what? Yes, thank you. And then, of course, Mr. Kafour sent an email too, so I wanted to make sure that we got that
Regarding the East Bay.
regarding the East Bay, what some people consider the East Bay, of course, so thank you. And that is the end of my dredging study group report.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank
And
you.
that was taped. You have an audio file of that.
I
Anybody
taped
want to
that
listen to
because one of the freeholders emailed Adam. Adam forwarded me the email, actually from my district, when he saw that we were having the DSG meeting. So I did record the meeting, and if you want me to send it to you, or I can send it to Adam. He can put it online. I'm open to whatever. I thought we had a pretty spirited meeting. So.
It was a good
It's a
meeting.
good meeting.
So.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Manager's report, Adam?
All right, the first thing I have on the manager's report actually regards myself and something I wanted to bring up to the board. Currently, the lake pays 100% of my health insurance premiums, which is right now just a little over $6,000. I believe it's $6,200 for the year. And something I was wanting to look at as I'm getting married next month, I found out that I could potentially get health insurance for myself and Darcy for about that same price through her company that she works with. So something I wanted to propose to the board and get thoughts were, instead of, currently I submit the bills to our treasurer and the LCD pays it directly, is potentially doing a health stipend to where I would receive those funds, which I think it came out to be like $500 per month, if we were to break it down per month, as a health stipend to myself, because then I would be able to get insurance for essentially the same cost for the whole family. So I just kind of wanted to bring that for discussion and get thoughts from people.
And I will jump in here because in the midst of the discussion, I asked Adam to find out what it would be to simply gross up his salary to equal 6,000 rather than doing the monthly piece, and that would come to $6,000 annually take home, because healthcare is usually done on a pre-tax basis. Now I have to put my glasses on again. To get to that $6,000, we would need to raise his salary about $7,800.
Well, so you're saying right now that it's not on your W-2, we just pay it direct for you?
That's correct, yeah. So
Which
it
is probably not the right way to handle it,
Right.
period, you know? I mean, you know, and you have to have separate, you know, plans and things. So we should probably seek the advice of our accounting firm, maybe about how to really handle that and what's the right way to do it, because don't you, I mean, there's like HSA accounts and things like that. Because when you say a stipend, to me that means, like, it would have to be part of your salary.
Yeah, it would become
Yeah.
taxable income at that point, yeah.
And actually, we got the gross up information from Watkins Accounting.
Mhm.
And since we don't
But
have, the health insurance is not
I don't want to
offered
miss
through.
Debbie's point here.
Yeah.
Because did they understand, Adam, when you asked them that question, what we were doing? And
Yes, yeah,
what
they
we might
did.
be doing?
And currently, since we don't offer health insurance through the company, we go through the marketplace and through third parties.
Right.
So we just submit the bills, so that it is not taxable income, because it's just being paid essentially as a stipend now, but it doesn't count as taxable income. So I talked to them and the attorney. They said there's nothing wrong with the stipend, but the stipend at the end of the year would count as taxable income.
Right. As should probably this have, just saying.
As a benefit.
On a CPA. Yeah.
When we get the payroll summary, there is deductions of gross pay for insurance and retirement. Obviously, your retirement's coming out of your gross pay, pre-taxed. Did someone else have insurance coming out of their pay pre-taxed? Because there is a line here for that.
No.
Okay,
No.
that that line was put in there, for example.
Yeah,
In case someone,
An interesting thing, and I don't know what it would take to do it, if it's a big deal or not, maybe somebody's more familiar, it's like a HSA or something. Like, and then I think you can put that money in, like, we could give you that money, and I think you could put it in pre-tax, and then you could basically, but you have to, I think, pull it out for healthcare purposes.
Yeah, and my
I-
concern
I'm
about
just
that
kinda-
is I don't believe there's HSAs through the marketplace currently. I think the HSAs generally have to be the employee puts the money into there. But my concern with doing the HSA was essentially I was hoping to recoup the cost of the health insurance plan
Right,
versus
right.
locking that money away.
And you can't pay premiums out of an HSA.
Right.
So, I
Right.
mean, that's
Yeah.
what.
Right, you
our
can't.
tax code is. You can't do that, so.
Yeah.
but you can get a post-employee health plan, you can get a retiree health insurance plan. I mean, there are plans out there that would, that he could pay premiums out of. Obviously, he's not post-employment and he's not retired. I mean, he's 31 years old, so those things, they don't count right now. But we are paying a retirement, so I didn't know if any of those two things might interest you, to take that money and put them in a post account for when you get older. When I was 31, I wasn't thinking about retirement, but I'm 60. So I'm talking like Jay Whittaker now, So again, those are options. But I'm not opposed to any of the ideas that have been discussed here. I think that we should probably Well, what did Watkins say? For us to give you a stipend? Was that the answer that they gave?
They said it's either to you guys, if you wanted to, I asked a question from Mary Jane if we were going to do, ultimately end up in a $6,000 after tax, what that cost increment would be, and then also they said a stipend would work just fine. That would be sent out with the monthly paychecks and just at the end of the year count as taxable income.
Is that something we want to think about, or is that something?
So would the stipend be just for the rest of this year, and then it would change to just
When
be
can you
all
go on for
payroll?
insurance?
At the end of May. That's why I was wanting to try to,
You can go, you
So
can go on
June 1.
automatically.
yeah,
June 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
What would you prefer, Ryan? I don't see it.
I mean, I'd like to have the money as a benefit to recoup the cost of health insurance rather than locking it away into like a health savings account. I mean, I was initially just looking at the stipend, but I like the idea of actually doing the salary change. That way, we recoup that $6,000 after taxes.
And the only,
So what
the
will
reason
be, what will be out, LLCD, is just the additional in that gross up.
right.
So it'll be another few $1,000s or whatever, you know.
And my reaction to the whole thing came from just, it's cleaner.
Mhm.
It's a cleaner thing if it's just part of the normal compensation, you know, and we don't have to
So
think
what
about
would
it. It's,
that mean?
it's
What would
just,
that
the
mean?
stipend adds a step in my, but if nobody's unhappy with that.
So we're paying right now. we're
And it's
paying,
as long as it's legal for us to do that as a public
$455.
entity, and I don't know if the accountant
So-
is
It is
the
legal
last
to,
authority
yeah.
on that,
Yeah.
or did you check with
Essentially, we
Angela?
just have to have a supermajority vote to change the salary resolution.
I think what the board needs to just consider, and I don't have any objection to this honestly, but
That's
so
first.
we've been paying Adam that plus the $6,000. So it's just like, if Adam's not here, and, you know, we're sitting there and we're agreeing that it costs, and it should cost that 58,000 or whatever, you know, to pay him for the work he does. So it's pretty much just kind of changing his annual salary. Right?
Mhm.
And it was part of his
Yeah.
original, our
Yeah,
original
benefit package.
benefit
His
package,
total
his agreement, the
compensation.
reason,
Right.
you know.
I would move that we move forward with that.
The one thing by having it as a stipend, though, is it makes it very clear that here's what we're compensating for work performances, and our health benefit plan is X amount of dollars. And then as you're doing future increases, our increases are based on
Oh,
this
That's a good point.
as opposed to
The
a-
cost of benefits,
Mhm.
right.
Plus, I think it would make it cleaner for down the road. I mean, let's say Adam wins the lottery or something, he quits, you know? And then the next person comes, and maybe it's a few years from now, and we go, oh, well, we don't cover life insurance or health insurance. We didn't for the last guy, you know, because it was just rolled into the salary. And, you know, so it almost kind of has the perception that the health benefit is not there.
But we
You
don't
know.
have it. We don't have a health insurance plan, do
Yeah,
we?
essentially they're
I mean,
reimbursing.
he's
But we
just
used to.
basically going to the marketplace
We used to.
individually and
We
trying to
did
find his
not have
own
health
insurance.
Yeah, but we're
But
paying
we're
it.
So I don't
reimbursing
think
for
it's-
that.
But we're-
It's
yeah,
We're
we're
paying it
wellness
directly,
benefit. It's a
yeah,
wellness
Yeah.
benefit.
yeah.
But, so, I mean, it is from his perspective, it is a benefit. He has a health benefit. I'm just saying it would get maybe lost in the shuffle a couple of years down the road, and it's gonna look like, well, we don't provide it. Now, we're paying you extra, so you go find your own insurance, you know?
Mhm.
Oh,
Adam, is that the $455.79 to Care Source? Is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's the dental one in there as well.
I guess my thought then, though, is though I agree with Michael, that I think maybe it is a little cleaner to have that thing separately. Even though it's an extra step, it might just make things,
Well, and as we talk about it, I see, the logic is good
Yeah.
in that. I
But
agree.
if you do it as a stipend, don't they 1099 you? And then
Yes,
you would
yes,
have
let's
to-
tax
So then he gets
It's a
taxed.
big issue
Well, no,
for him.
for $500, I mean, with payroll, the $500 can go into the payroll, but it's a separate, you have your salary compensation, and then you have the stipend included. So it's all within the W-2.
I think that, I believe what they said is that it would be
They would
1099.
1099
Yeah,
it
'cause
separately,
It's
I
receiving
think.
its benefit.
And we wouldn't want him to have to do that, because then he's gotta pay SE tax, and he doesn't really have any deductions to take against it, you know.
I'd like
on
validation
Schedule
of
C.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement, we just have to figure out the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to do a little more homework before we make a
Alright, well,
decision.
So we've got one more, the
Yeah,
May
yeah,
meeting,
yeah, we
we
can
could
talk about
then
next month,
hopefully
yeah.
finalize what the best approach would be.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I would
I'm
ask a couple
supportive
of
of the
those
concept.
questions. I am
absolutely.
too,
Yeah.
just figure out what's the
Yeah,
easiest
it's
way
not,
to
oh,
do it.
yippee, we don't have to pay for your insurance anymore.
So should we go on record that we approve the concept and we're only going to?
And we'll
So do
figure
our
out
research.
the best way to make this happen.
I think we have a consensus. I'm not sure there's necessarily a need for a vote because it doesn't have any.
Yeah.
I agree. And
Right.
you're supported. I don't think there's any problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Figure
sent
out
that
how to
email
vote
out,
right.
and I didn't know if we were supposed to respond or what. I'm like, are we voting
So
by email?
let's got to do a little more research and discuss this next
Yeah,
month.
okay.
and then
Yeah,
we
but-
can hopefully clean it up and.
The thing about the
see what-
1099, yeah,
by
I mean, if
June
it was
1.
used
You don't want
500,
it
then it's
1099.
taxed down
Yeah.
too, so it wouldn't be that same benefit.
Okay.
All right, let's table that to next month. Next on the manager's docket, we have barge operations
Can I just
update.
back up for 1 minute? I do think, though, that we could probably cover it, probably just by stipulating, here's his compensation package, and it constitutes, this is a salary and $6,000 for healthcare benefits. And to me, that would, it would be memorialized, it would get to your issue, but this is the package, because everybody looks at the package
Yeah.
and retirement or whatever. I don't know if that's something you just pull out on your own or we pay. So, I mean, I think we can identify it
Yeah.
separately and.
So it'd still be the packet, but it would count as total income.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Just in two
We would-
pieces.
Total compensation.
Yeah.
So that's, and just, so he's making, so the money he's making right now, that is a 7.59% increase
Right,
in his wages.
right.
You know, the Conservancy is saving the $455.79 in healthcare costs
Right.
from its balance sheet, but they're increasing his
Plus-
wages
Right.
7.59%.
Right, right,
Essentially a
right.
wash.
And the salary resolution needs to reflect that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well-
Yeah, so,
And and we can just identify there's salary and here's benefits.
Okay.
That's your
Right,
benefit,
thank you.
You know,
Okay, I'm good.
okay. So should we
Then-
approve it?
I think we could go ahead and approve it if you're good. And I think the point that I heard was, okay, every year we talk about salary. Every year we talk about benefits. So this would reflect on an increase in salary, 7.59%. Would everybody agree with that?
so I think that's, you've talked me
We're approving a
back.
benefit package to
Yeah,
him that
yeah.
constitutes this salary and this amount for his healthcare benefits.
Right.
We're just not paying
Because-
him directly.
Because the
Yeah.
He's
other
paying it
piece
on
is,
himself.
I think we need to think about this more. I'm convinced. Because the other piece, and it's different because we don't have, you have to go out and find your own insurance, but
Right.
now you're gonna be on Darcy's, but, in most businesses, the healthcare costs go up annually.
Right.
And employers pay a percentage of the increase, they pass some on to
Right.
the employee. So if we lump this all together, then do we lose sight of any adjustment we might need to make to the stipend?
Well, I don't think we're lumping it
No.
together, yeah.
No.
I don't think we're lumping it together.
Okay.
I think we're saying your salary is still what it is, and now we're gonna pay you additional for your healthcare insurance.
Yes.
I mean,
Well, and I guess what I'd like to see is what our salary resolution actually looks like. I
Yeah.
haven't seen
We
it to
should.
see how that's written.
Okay.
because
Yeah.
Okay.
You can, under Indiana
Get a
law, we have,
resolution.
yeah, Indiana law requires us to have a salary resolution
Right,
which establishes
okay.
the maximum amount we can pay. And we can also have provisions in there that says that they can get additional money for X, Y, Z.
Okay.
And one of those X's can be.
so we should come to the May meeting somehow with a resolution
Yeah.
that's written
Yeah,
appropriately.
essentially,
I agree.
I think
amend
that's
the
good.
salary resolution.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah,
Well,
okay.
I'll get that out to you guys for review.
Okay.
Okay, that's,
We can
All right,
discuss
sorry
that.
about that.
No, it's good points, I think.
On the barge operations, we are fully up and running. We actually finished Walker Lane on Tuesday. And as of today, we've taken out 800 yards, 8 large barge loads, and we're currently moving moving on that channel that's heading east, within, I don't know what that channel's called. I always call it the Ison channel because Marshall's at the end. We're on that internal channel that heads east. So things have been going very well. We do have the 2 full-time guys, and then actually our backup pushboard operator we kept on. So they've been utilizing him, and I think we're in a very good position. That's where we are with
Adam,
that.
what's the push boat, there's Jim, and what's the other guy's name?
Clinton.
Clinton?
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. And it's nice that Clinton and Levi can both operate the excavator. And then Jim actually lives on Shuffle Creek now, and he's partially retired, and I've been keeping him busy doing a little bit of office work, and I'm gonna have him do one of the lake patrol jobs as well, since he is semi-retired, so we do have him working and covered enough to keep him on, that way he's always available. So I think it's
That's
gonna
good.
work out very well this year.
But Clinton and Levi are the excavator operators that you have, right?
Yes,
They
yeah.
can both
Clinton-
operate the
Clinton
excavator.
is on payroll as the pushboard operator, and he is a pushboard operator, but if Levi is not there, Clinton can
Perfect.
operate and has operated.
Okay, good.
They can bring Jen on. So I think we got a very nice setup, and we're starting off strong. That's where we are. The DNR, before I get to the next one, I forgot to put on the nuisance wildlife on here. We did treat geese eggs on Cemetery Island. Was it last Friday? Yeah. Last Friday, we treated 18 nests and about 100 eggs. They were pretty late this year, just with the weather. So we did do that. We applied for the permit. We do have to report back to DNR about that. Next, we have a DNR Lair grant. We did approve a resolution to accept the $5,000 for nuisance vegetation treatment. We bid it out to about 6 different companies and received 2 back, Aquatic Control and Clark Aquatic Services. When it comes to the cost, Aquatic Control is $550 across the board. The variation in cost depends on the depth of the area that you're treating, which ultimately results in solution concentrations. The Clark description ranges from $470 to $717, depending on whether you're 3 to 5 foot of depth. The Aquatic Control is $550 straight through, which ultimately is a better deal. And we do have Aquatic Control under contract for our 2018 vegetation treatments. So I would recommend a motion to accept the bid for maintenance herbicide treatment with Aquatic Control.
Make that motion, Adam.
Oh, I have a question though. So that's in addition to the normal treatment?
This is really in the normal treatment. Essentially, since we get the $5,000 for Lair, we're required to bid it out since it is state funds.
Okay. So they're targeting the same type, the same species?
Yeah, it's for Eurasian milfoil, which
Okay.
it's most of our treatment is. So Aquatic Control will be out treating that anyways, but now we can recoup
Yeah.
$5,000.
So it's just an add-on?
So we're not
Yeah.
approving spending any more money, we're
No.
just approving the contract because we need to for the grant, okay?
Correct.
I have to admit, I don't remember seeing that triclopyr as one of our chemicals. Is that
That
new?
triclopyr, it's got other names as well. I think it's also called Aquathol K.
Okay.
It really
Know
just
that one.
depends on the company that's producing it.
Okay, I know Aquathol K then. Okay, I've made the motion that we accept the bid from Aquatic Control.
Michael seconded.
Oh, thank you, I didn't hear that. It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, so last month we had a guy trying to get out of the Conservancy District. This year we actually have Chris Francis, who I saw walking in, that is looking at annexing into the Conservancy District. There's a discussion of this. This has been talked about before in the past. It has not happened. It's gone through our attorney, and we actually do have the process for it to happen. If we were to agree to this, not that I'm recommending that we make any decisions today, essentially the process is he wrote the letter to the board. If we decide that we would move forward, this would create a resolution allowing the property to be annexed into the Conservancy District. That resolution then would be sent to the county court, which they would hold a public hearing on the resolution to annex the property into this. Chris, you can actually come up here, Chris, if you'd like to. Chris lives on John Young Road, kind of right before the split where it goes to the dam and down south. And it is, I believe, the first property outside of the Conservancy
It
District.
is, my
bounds.
neighbor, the cutoff is my neighbor's
Your neighbor?
house.
Okay.
So it's contiguous. It's like
So
we would
it's
just
not-
draw our map a little bigger.
Yes.
Are you looking this up?
Does Joan Harris live close to you? She's at 7508. She just had a 17-foot boat stolen
Yeah, I
from her.
saw that, yeah.
Yes, I saw that next to her.
What's the address?
When I saw that you're on John Young Road, I thought, yeah, somebody just had a boat stolen.
7435.
Are you the lower map?
Yeah, he's
I know
gonna
that
show
this
us
has been
the-
discussed in the past, and I mean, ultimately, I think if we are gonna improve it, there are some things that we need to think about and improve with it. I mean, where do we cut the lines at? Could we have somebody in Martinsville try to annex into the district?
Yeah.
Contiguous.
yeah.
This, yeah, and that's what I'm thinking, contiguous, so this would include like the north side.
That was
north
the
loop
argument
potentially.
that we used when we denied.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yes.
And I probably said too much at that meeting, I apologize.
What meeting was that?
But I think it's had to
Right.
be,
Or out.
Yeah.
but you're the one who runs it.
So when you want
No.
to use the lake now, you have to come and launch your boat at the park?
Yes, I go
Is that
all the way, well, I say all the way around, but I go out and go down to Tunnel Road and come in.
There's the lake.
Do you have access then,
Yeah,
like
my
you have
road
to walk
dead ends,
down
yes.
there?
I can walk right in. If I walk the road, it dead ends into the lake.
So there's a place to put a dock.
There's several docks already there.
Yeah, the dock would be at the end of John Young Road, it kind of comes down and cuts back. This would be in Michael's district. At the end of John Young Road down there on the water is all city property, and I believe we have, I want to say 5 or 6 that we stocked about half of
Where are we?
Yeah.
Should be the.
I mean, District 1.
Right now.
Francis?
Yes.
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 Okay.
So which one is it?
And the property
GIS
goes,
is saying that.
it goes north and south of John Young, right?
So where's this road?
Yeah, like a strip on the north side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a,
This is John Young here.
Yeah, that doesn't, that's.
That doesn't make sense.
So
There-
it's where,
there's-
it's where it splits. This is John Young, and this property is right here before it splits.
Okay, so.
Right here?
Yeah.
David Townsend. It's showing that as his, but that's.
It heads south, so if you go right there, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Oh, okay.
it's a weird piece of property.
Yeah.
Everything
It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
This will be my third
Everything
year
at Lake
as well.
Lemon's weird.
There it is.
We bought it 2
Adam-
years ago, and we're still trying to figure out the property, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
So are all of us. It's pretty much lake-wide. Isn't there a petition element to this process? I seem to remember where.
So
people have
initially,
to-
you petition the board, which will be the letter. If the board were denied of this request, you can ultimately go back and go to the freeholders
To
in
every
the
freeholder,
area,
okay.
and they require.
Got it.
I'd have to look, I believe it's an 80 to 90%
It's high.
signatures to get from the people if the board denies us. So
Okay.
there's still a pathway for annexation
Got
if we
it.
deny that. But the quickest route would be
If we would approve it, okay.
if we did a resolution.
So there's no reason not to do it.
I mean, if it's contiguous
Yeah.
with the district, which to me is the criteria for
What's the out of
annexation.
bounds marker there? Like, you know, in our area, it's the railroad tracks. So what's the out of bounds marker?
It's pretty arbitrary. We have a map and it really cuts through quite a few properties over there. And this wouldn't actually affect the conservancy bounds. It would annex the property itself into the conservancies that pay the taxes, but it does not actually move our conservancy boundaries. So,
Okay.
so it could be just individual properties.
But I would say if you've got lake access, it just seems crazy. If you bought property that has lake access where you could put a dock on there, that would be a secondary
Yeah.
reason for
Yeah.
doing it.
And you do know this will cost you money?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. But I also know that it'll make my wife and kids a lot happier.
So that's
So you
priceless.
own to the water's edge with that road?
I'm sorry?
Do you
Yes.
own to the
No,
water's
that's
edge,
not- no,
including
no,
your?
no.
No, the
Here's
water's,
the boundary,
The
right?
water's down
over
here.
here.
Okay, but you
So-
said the road,
He's
The
in.
road goes
The road
down.
that I live off of.
Oh, he
John Young,
is?
dead
Okay.
ends into-
but it's
And
not
then
your
there's-
road.
Correct.
Yeah, and then there's property
Really?
down here that I presume is city
It doesn't
property
change that.
that we
Yes.
have, and that's
Yes.
where.
See,
the-
actually, on this
That's why
agreement-
That's where, yeah, there's a-
No, it's
yeah.
before.
I can't see any reason to not do
No, I
this.
would
So when it
move we
splits here,
approve
right?
it.
Well, and I think this will always be
District.
on a case-by-case basis if this,
Yeah,
if
it's a
this
case
starts
by
to
case.
happen, and we have the right of first
Gotcha.
refusal, so.
But, I mean, this, adding people in increases our
tax base.
the revenues that are coming in.
It doesn't
If
really
it's-
increase your revenue because it's a set amount
Well,
that's split by
We
taxes.
could request more though and keep rates the same for individuals once we
Which
get to
would be
that
my
scale.
recommendation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from that standpoint, I don't see this as a bad thing.
I don't know.
How were the boundaries
Here it is, right here,
established to
Les.
begin with?
Here's a boundary map.
That's a good question.
That's another,
I mean,
that's another.
I am not sure on the western end. On the
Okay,
south end,
Laura
the
says
north
he's
end, it was
inside.
pretty easy
She
because they
says
take the
he's
railroad
inside
track and
this-
North Shore
Oh,
Drive.
he's
So
inside.
why
west
isn't he
end,
in
it's
automatic?
Really
Well, when he bought the property, it was not listed as in.
Yeah.
No, it was not.
Persuasion.
But you're inside the boundary.
That's-
He's inside the boundary, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's right on the edge.
Yeah, because it's,
Yeah.
his neighbor is in it, but he is not.
Yeah, his neighbor's in it, so,
That's
I mean,
weird.
so his property is.
It may be that your property kind of splits in the
Here's John
boundary
Young
now.
North,
Maybe
splits
us a
right
little
there,
bit,
so
a
he
little
is
part of
that
it.
house
When we
right
bought the
there,
property, it
where the
listed
road
as
splits,
two
so he's
separate
right on the
tracks.
edge.
It was listed as
So
what?
he's really
Two
not in
separate
boundary.
No.
I think that's right.
Because somebody
We've
said
got
he
one
was.
track
Oh, I
that-
thought-
No, he's not. He's right on the
5
edge.
acres, and I've got
Laura thought
another
he was
3
in.
acres
So,
that was
I
listed as
guess-
another tract.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that?
No,
Yeah, I want
sorry.
to make sure.
When we
Sorry.
bought the property, it was listed as 2 tracts of land. So one tract is 5 acres and the other one is 3 point something acres. And we bought it together, but when you look it up at the city, it's listed as 2 separate
Yeah.
parcels.
And neither of which
So is
is
that
in
why they're
the.
Yes.
two dots?
Got it. Michael, since this is your
Yeah, you
district,
should move.
are you comfortable?
Yeah, I'm
having
comfortable
this?
with it.
am.
I mean, do we need to have a formal resolution?
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll motion to approve this and we'll have to create a resolution that will be approved at the next board
Okay,
meeting.
then I would make that motion.
Second?
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we create that resolution and go from there. All
All right,
those in favor?
welcome.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
What? You didn't get ice from everybody, I don't think everybody
Now
owed
he
you.
spent his money on your health.
I'm
They
sorry.
they filtered it, so then we all said
Okay.
aye.
Thanks, Neil. Okay, very good.
Next up, we have IU Water Ski Club, who we recently approved to put in a slalom course, was previously located and stored their property and launched their boats from the IU rowing facility. Since the clubs are associated with IU essentially just with the name and being a student body, but not on their insurance, IU has removed club activities and non-sanctioned sports off of the property. So the ski team has been looking for a place to store their watercraft. And they came to me, they'd been talking with a resident on South Shore Drive, Jim Brown, who has other parcels of land that is not claiming subleases on. So they were talking to each other and Jim said he would have to buy a sublease and then let them use it. So as I've been reviewing this, I started looking at the sublease documents. My largest concern is that on the sublease, it states that if you're not the property owner, guests can only utilize the sublease for up to 2 weeks maximum per season, or you have to be a family member to utilize the dock. So you could have your family member store the boat on the dock. So this would essentially require a variance to the sublease. I really don't want any expecting action unless I'm just gonna go in through the paces to talk about it. I actually the sublease is signed off, it's approved by us and the City of Bloomington Utilities. So it gets signed off and approved by myself and John Langley, the Deputy Director. Since they also have to approve this, I contacted the City Attorney and the Deputy Director today to get their opinion. So really I'm just gonna give an update, and I don't even wanna move on this until I hear back from them because it's a joint contract. And one of the things that I would ask them is I don't like the idea of creating variances on the sublease docks. It just opens up the door for anybody with a dock to potentially bring in outside entities. So I I asked them, if they want to look at doing this, or since they are affiliated with IU as a student body, just potentially do a separate contract or approval to allow them to put a dock. So that's where we are with that, and
On IU's property.
on the city's property, on the City of Bloomington's property.
So this property of Ms. Brown, this is an individual that owns the property? And
That's
is willing to
correct.
Sublease it?
Yes, yes. I was wanting to put a dock on. They were talking about the short causeway, and they have gotten permission from another landowner to store their boats and park their cars. So I was really concerned with the congestion on the South Shore on the causeway. But so really now, I had it on here, but after reviewing it, and I think it really needs to be a joint decision with the city, so I'm waiting to hear back from the city and their attorney on that.
Does IU own any property on the lake? Or within
Just where the rowing course is,
the, oh,
or where the rowing center is, they own 2 parcels right there.
so they're an owner, but I guess the club isn't.
The club is not IU,
Yeah.
yeah. They're
Yeah.
affiliated as a student body, but
Yeah,
they're
just looking
separate.
there. Or could they go to the sailing club and just hook up with those guys and become the Bloomington Sailing and Water Ski Club or something?
Like the yacht club?
I don't think they have room there.
No, and I've asked them to see if they talk to the yacht club. The sailing club, IU Sail Club, also got removed from the property,
Yeah.
so they have no club sports there.
It must have been for liability reasons.
It
They just
absolutely
cut all these
was.
clubs off because they couldn't control it.
I think a lot of it stemmed from when the kid got locked in the cave a few months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
That was
didn't know
bad.
about that.
Yeah.
That's a discussion for.
Okay.
Either way, so I'm not seeking any motion on this or action. We had it on here, but I've talked to the City of Bloomington Utilities. I'm gonna wait till we get some guidance from their attorney on this.
So meanwhile, they don't have their boat in the water.
Meanwhile, they just have to launch their boat, yeah.
Have they been out yet?
I don't know, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They were out yesterday.
They actually stopped by the office today, since they're doing the boat detailing. They stopped and said, since they're allowed to put a course, they'd love to clean their boat, which I'm all happy for.
And they did have the event on Sunday at the IU Rowing Center. It was ending just as I got home.
I went
So I
to
don't,
it.
yeah, they had the cookout.
Yeah, free food, you know. A fair amount, but not many freeholders. There were mostly the club members and stuff, but there was a couple. Spencer was there. And a couple
Kind of early in the season to get a lot of.
Were they?
Yeah.
Are they in wetsuits yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I would
Thank
think
you.
Oh, yes.
But so I'll wait till I hear back from the city before we move anyone on.
Fair enough.
That's my report.
All right. Thanks, Adam.
Did you have any update, I know, that I might have missed in the minutes, like on that causeway? Like, have they been out there and looked?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
So
that's falling
I've been
apart, or did you
in
guys-
contact with Terry Coleman, who was here at the last board meeting. And they are going to put in a new culvert on the long causeway, which should help with the blue-green algae problem there
Oh,
immensely. So they're gonna be redoing that. They said it is on their docket of jobs
Like,
to do,
what's the
but they,
timeframe?
hopefully this year is the time frame. It should be this year. They couldn't give us an exact time. They said it's on their list of stuff to accomplish, and they've been working with the Monroe County Highway Department, who should be going out there to do some reinforcements on the causeway.
Same spot.
It needs reinforced all along.
It's all
No, I
along
mean
the
the
way.
pipe though. Is it?
Yeah, the pipe's in the same spot, just lower, so that normal
Yeah.
pool is
Yeah.
allowing
Connects them.
continuity between the two bodies of water.
We'll see if that helps the algae.
I hope so. And on that note, too, I've been working with a student named Mohammed from IU with the Hazardous Algal Bloom Action Plan, and we're hoping to have a working document in June or July to present to the board. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Very good. All right. Public comment. Malcolm.
Stand up there. All right, we've kind of beaten to death the dredging stuff, but I want somebody to say this explicitly. This is the sentence I want to hear. Okay, so if we get to the end of the normal dredging season and we run out of money, dredging will continue because private dredging is going to fund it.
For private dredging, yes.
Right.
Yes, okay, so that's
Yeah.
everybody's understanding, right?
Yes.
That's mine.
That's the plan.
All right.
It's on tape now.
So, but I would like you to I'd like a little more clarity around that. If we're doing private dredging, how does that impact our ability to do other dredging?
For LLC dredging?
Can we do both simultaneously?
No, we don't. Currently, the equipment and the staff won't allow it because we're utilizing both barges for the current operation.
Okay, I just want, that's what I thought, but I
And we
want to
don't
be
want to
clear.
fill the disposal site and then not be able to complete our LLCD dredging.
Right.
And, weather, lake level, maintenance, and disposal site always put a damper on LLCD dredging.
Right.
And so this year, we might be able to get through all those funds that we budgeted for LLCD dredging and and do some private dredging, but that's to be determined.
I'm hoping so, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Ron.
How old are those dredgers? I meant to ask that, because you mentioned.
We were
the
just talking about this.
depreciation. How old are they?
Well,
You said they were
like I
set
said,
up on 10 years.
People or the equipment?
We
The equipment, it's old and it's nearing we're at the end of the expected lifespan when we
Right,
bought the
okay.
equipment.
All right, okay.
The dump truck, I believe, is a late 80s model. We no longer have a front differential on it. And we
Okay.
just replaced some of the cylinders on that. It's all running. I think the next purchase is going to have to be the dump truck. I mean, that thing, every week we get
So
out
is
of
there
this.
a committee that kind of oversees that whole deferred maintenance issue then, and like what we need to be looking at in terms of capital? Because that's probably not in our budget. Maybe
No,
that's-
and I think that's kind of what we're talking about in the
When we
strategic
talk about
plan.
Maybe we should do that for the
Yeah.
budget. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Thrasher,
Yeah,
welcome back.
hello. I'm gonna talk about dredging. So, we have last year's numbers to go by. What is your estimated, what are you gonna be able to get done up there based on last year's numbers? Have you calculated that? Because we calculated what we thought was gonna take to get out for last year.
For the entire interchannels?
Yeah, because we got started in June.
Yeah.
We got a late start last year, and we know from point A to point B what they got out. I think you used 5,800 cubic yards.
Yeah, and of that, I want to say it was right around 4,000. That was
Yeah,
actually the
38
shit one. Yeah.
was what we had estimated. So, based on that time frame and the amount of cubic yards, what is your plan, or what do you think are we gonna be able to get out of the Chitwood area this year?
I think we'll be all the internal channels. I really do. That channel that we're on now has about 3 foot of water, so it really should move in 2 foot of sediment. So I think we'll be able to get all of the inner channels.
And do you have
That's
a-
my goal.
Okay, and have you calculated those
We
numbers?
initially calculated 8,000 to 10,000 yards of sediment
For the whole,
for the whole inner channel area there.
okay,
And with that 4,000 removed, I think a lot of that sediment was from Walker Lane, since we were essentially negative water depth.
correct. So, okay, so you're going to Ison's, the east-west
Yes.
finger, and then you're going to move to,
That next channel west of Walker.
On the other
Heads
side of
north-south,
Walker.
Yes.
and then to the
Middle.
boat ramp?
Yes.
Okay. My other question is we have been told years ago that you could use the big barge for some of those fingers, especially the one going to the boat ramp. Is it your plan to use that, or are we going to stick with the small dump into the big one?
We'll have to look once we get to, I'm not sure the width on that ramp channel. We use the big barge to come in the point to where the channel's split at.
Right.
So I'm not positive on how wide that is at that ramp area right there.
Okay, I was just curious.
Mike and I were talking about that on the way down, and he thinks we'll be able to do that.
Right, and I forgot to mention, because this is important. Louis Bowser owns the point that you're going around, and he has stated that there is no problem as long as you don't block the channel to park the equipment at his point and park the work truck there. And in my business, we call it, whenever they call 4 guys out to go to training, we're taking a $500,000 taxi cab. We take a ladder truck to go to training, we take a ladder truck to go to do inspections, and it's just a taxi cab. And so, part of the efficiency would be not to drive the large barge empty or not even a quarter full back to the disposal site and leave them both parked there and park at Louis Bowser's place, which would be more efficient.
Yeah, we would never drive the barge back empty, and that's the end of the day. Once the large barge is full, then we go to drop that off.
Okay. And I'm not down here, I'm just saying that's what I've been told.
No, yeah, and as far as parking the truck, it's a good idea, but we have all the fuel tanks are at the office, and I like to have all that locked up as far as the dually
So they take the large barge back to the office?
No, the large barge just goes to the disposal site, they have them load and leave it there.
And then they take the
They
truck.
drive the work truck around, yeah.
Okay.
And we have all our gas tanks and fuel tanks at the office, so.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Thrasher.
No,
The other thing is, if you have that calculation of 10,000 cubic yards, and we took out 4 last year, that's gonna leave you about 6,000, correct? We know from years past, our dump site is pretty much at full capacity of the wet stuff at about 6,000 cubic yards. So your private dredging, what I would put out there is maybe, since we have the west end dump site, you do your private dredging, move the stuff to the west end, and then you could do west end private dredging in the latter part of the year.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah, and when we did the initial, what we were gonna do this year, part of the vote and the motion was to do LLCD work, and then once we were out of funds, then to do private work. So we won't be doing any private work beforehand, and that was one of the main reasons. If we're doing both, that dump site's gonna get full really quick.
Well, and I think that after 6,000, it has to de-water.
Yeah, and it really depends on the season. I'm not sure if we're able to drive back there. But if it's wet enough, which it generally is, we have to use the ramp, which really limits. If it's dry, we can actually drive back into the site and get a little bit more capacity out there.
Is 10,000 cubic yards, how do you convert that to cubic feet? Because your cost per cubic
yard.
Oh, okay, alrighty, okay.
Yeah, private to private will be done after LLCD digging.
So if it was $58,000,
5,800 cubic yards.
that's how much we did?
Total last year, but only out of Chitwood, we took 4,000.
Right.
Okay.
Because we had other areas that
I was
we.
trying to get that down, like if that's all we did last year, then how are we gonna do that much if you think we're gonna be able to
Well,
get
last year
10,000 out
we
this
were done at the
year?
end of
How are we
August.
gonna do it?
Yeah, we
Okay.
only dug
We
3
had a much
months.
shorter season last year.
Yeah.
Debbie.
But, so we have a lot more budgeted then, because it's gonna cost us a lot more money if that's the
Well, we were
cost,
starting
right?
earlier. I don't think we've ever started this early.
No, last year we were done in August because we had to lower down for the railroad.
Mr. Ron, did I interrupt you?
Nope.
Okay.
That's it? That's all you got?
Thank you.
That's all I got.
So
got
Debbie,
to go back
did
and
you,
pace.
did we answer your
Well, what do we
question?
have budgeted this year totally for the dredging?
Well, every year, it's an approximate of $100,000, and
Okay,
that's with
okay,
those
so that
costs that
would-
I just mentioned, the labor, the fuel.
Right. Okay.
And what'd we come up with, Ron? 600, approximately 600 cubic yards of digging, that's a season, right?
6,000.
6,000.
6,000?
6,000, I'm sorry, 600 hours, 600 hours.
Yeah, because we've gone as high as.
Since we have
8 or 9.
35,000 budgeted for labor for LLCD digging.
Okay, all right.
And the rest, that total 100,000 includes
Okay.
I did have one
maintenance
more
site
thing.
disposal.
Are we gonna continue the working Fridays if weather is good through the summer months? Because I'm up for it.
Oh, yeah, no, now with the crew that we have, yeah, we'll be out there. We're out there every day.
Okay.
We
Good.
have- Yes.
That's good to hear.
It is good to hear.
I would say my observation is that the whole staffing issue has gotten a lot better.
I think we're in a very good spot.
And it sounds from what Adam's been saying that the crew, all the people on the crew are enthusiastic and they show up, and so all that's
whining.
going a lot better. They actually come to work when they say they're going to come.
No, we have a very good crew this year, so I'm excited. I think we'll have a very good year.
And Debbie, we have taken more out per year than 6,000 cubic yards. I mean,
Okay,
I
that's
can
what I was
remember
kind of
numbers of
like-
8, 9.
Yeah,
I was trying to
in
reconcile
11,
all
there
that.
was,
Yeah.
there was
Wasn't it one-
10,000 in 11 and 12,000 in 12, and then, I don't have the numbers
Well,
past 2012.
That's fine, that's fine.
You'll hear
They
there are
close the
different,
gap.
this depends on a lot of
Yeah, we
variables.
just were done at the end of August with the drawdown last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
That,
exactly.
it shortened our season last year.
Anybody else have something they want to tell us about? Yes.
Oh, I'm leaving.
Oh, you're leaving? Okay.
You want to tell us she's leaving?
Bye.
I'm happy about the little lake.
Everybody?
You're happy about the Little Lake?
I have good of the order if you're going to
Thank
get ready
you.
to adjourn.
I just had this next meeting.
Okay. We did, I did receive a call, and Adam received a call. I guess last year, the small barge crew, don't know who it was, but they damaged a dock and a flagpole in District 7. And Adam couldn't make it, and I was in Greenfield.
And I was in Florida.
But Mary Jane stepped up and
Oh, my
went.
goodness.
Well, no, and I think it needs to be mentioned. You stepped up and you went over and you met with this lady and you took pictures, and I just think that
She
for the
wanted
good
me
of the
to stay for
order.
a beer, but I didn't have to.
For the good of the order, I want that, recognized. And also, I got a call from my friend Scott Adamson. He and Ron Thrasher are going to go over and take care of the dock and put her flagpole back up. They don't want any money for it. I've offered money. But I do know what they will take, so.
I don't
We
think
can
we can buy
probably-
that without
Fortunately,
LCD
30
funds.
racks.
Yes. So
We'll find a way to
I may need to be, I may
That's
be
what he wants.
presenting receipts to the board for reimbursement. That's all I have.
That's-
Thank you,
and
Mary
that's
Jane.
very
Oh,
nice.
you're welcome.
Very nice of you guys to step up and do that, and she's happy with it. That's perfect. Okay, our next meeting will be right here, Thursday, May 24th at 6. And this
So
is
we're
where-
still here until then, and then in June we
Yeah,
meet
yep.
elsewhere.
June, July, August.
But this is where it gets cool, that's Thursday night meetings, because this is where Pam Dugan is gonna start staying at the lake
Yes.
from the
Oh,
time
that's
I get
cool.
home from this meeting, because that's how this is supposed to work, and I'm excited.
That is good. So
that-
can I say one more thing? Sure. Because nobody really wants to leave right now anyway.
No.
This is, just a small note, this is the last meeting that Adam will attend where he's a single man.
That is true.
So it would be nice if.
May 19th.
He's getting, you're getting, and I
So if you guys need
realize,
anything that weekend, just.
I realize you guys are getting married the same day as Prince Harry and
Yes.
Meghan Markle.
Yes,
We're the
Well,
royal.
of course you are. Yeah, that's fitting.
So I would just say congratulations.
Yes,
Congratulations, Adam.
Are you getting married here?
Yeah, we're
Alright.
getting married at the vineyard, Oliver's Vineyard out in Ellisville. Darcy's there, the events director there, so they gave us permission to use the vineyard out there in the bar.
Oh, nice.
So we're all invited?
There you go. BYOB.
That happened on the lake.
Okay, with that, I'd seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Be safe going home.
We'll be all right. I need signatures
All right.
from the 3 board members out here.
So,
I got to go back to work. Thanks, Ron.
I get it.
So Ron, is it bowling that has kept you from us?
Did I forget?
Yeah, I bowled.
On Thursday?
Oh, you bowl on Thursday.
But now
Watched on
that's-
Thursday.
That's done now. It's only a winner.
It's done.
Yeah.
But I leave Saturday for Syracuse.
what is the mechanism by which
Wow, you're
the
That's cool.
massive
I won't be at the
dredging
meeting.
project and bond repayment finances?
Well, now that
You guys can go ahead and come up with a preliminary budget, and then that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Public input.
now that we're
Good
in
to
the
see you
season,
again.
we're
Take
pretty
care.
much
You know what
there.
I'm saying?
Well,
Next year's budget's gonna be massively different than previous years. You know?
well,
Sorry, I was
and so are we going to take that bond money and put it into our budget and operate it out of our budget?
I don't know how it works.
Okay, then I'll need to call our field representative, and he's out of town until the end of April.
I bet Frank would have an idea because he's done that kind of thing.
Well,
Okay,
that's what I do.
well, but not for the DLGF, so I'll have to, that's why I asked the question. And it is a two-part, so when will we receive those funds? That's what's gonna be asked of me, when would we receive those funds?
Well, we're hoping that it'll be like January 1.
Okay, and is that?
And it'll come in chunks.
And it'll come in chunks. And is it two separate funds? Did you wanna talk to me, Laura? Did you wanna talk to me?
We can talk anytime.
Okay, all right, thank you. So, and that's two funds, right? One's a dredging.
No, it's probably the